video recorded and broadcast over local access channel 8 and through the town website at www.eastham/ma.gov. I am Sarah Higgins. I'm chairing the meeting today. For Al. So I call the meeting to order at 3 p.m. And can I get a motion to accept the minutes from November 19th as in the packet with the edits?
I make a motion that the minutes of November 19th, 2024 be approved.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4-0.
Yes. 4-0. Thank you. Is there any public comment online?
No other attendees.
Our Olivia, our student ambassador, is not here, probably because we're starting the meeting earlier than normal. So the item to discuss with her was thinking about the next student ambassador for next year. So if she comes in, we'll just come back to that agenda item.
Yeah, like last year, I remember we had gotten a late start discussing this, and part of it is also planning on celebrating her involvement and making a date with her. So maybe when the next time we see her, maybe coming up with a date. In the past, we've gone out and treated her to dinner. So that would be one thing to talk to her about.
Okay. Okay. Debbie, do you want to do the friends?
Sure. Turnip Day was a big success all the way around, despite the weather. We sold just over 2,600 in merchandise after a very slow start. And almost 100 in the VIS room in books, which was like, wow, they were busy down there. Mary Backus, let me pass this around. This is the menu she proposed. Mary Backus has come up with a lovely menu for Fran's retirement party. The Friends will pay the full amount and be reimbursed half by the trustees, and lots of volunteers from the Friends will help Mary set up and then stay at the end to clean up. Holiday movies, yeah. Kind of slow, the first two, and then today they couldn't have one at all. So as Melanie said earlier, we'll try again in January and February. But it was kind of like, oh, 4 people. We have a lot of popcorn left. Tom is a huge fan of popcorn, so he's been eating popcorn a bag at a time.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
Week, yes. And on Saturday, thinking there was more coming on Tuesday, I said, Tom, there's that one last bag, you gotta eat it. So anyways, Melanie suggested that the library have a holiday wrapping corner in the Turner room. And so we are all set up. Around the corner is all the wrapping paper and bows and ribbon and all kinds of good stuff. And I just got cookies and lemonade. So we'll set up tonight, and it's tomorrow 10 to 4 and Thursday 12 to 6. Got to get some tape dispensers and
Oh,
scissors
yeah.
in there. Yeah, I was already counting on, I'll take that and tape and that tape and that.
Could you say those times again?
Hmm?
Can
10
you
to
say those
4.
times
Oh, yeah,
again?
tomorrow 10 to 4 all day.
Okay, and then.
And Thursday 12 to 6.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, and I just bought some holiday cookies at Stop and Shop. So we'll see. Hopefully somebody will come.
Mhm.
Otherwise, we have a lot of wrapping paper. So if you guys want to bring your presents in, you got anything to wrap, bring it on in. We do have, we have some really nice looking paper, and I did buy a roll of kids kind of paper. At the
Nice.
paper store the other day. It was on sale and I had a coupon, so I couldn't pass it up.
I love that.
Do you have Hanukkah paper?
No, but our paper is so generic. It
Yeah,
doesn't have-
No.
like
It doesn't have
winter.
trees or
Mm.
Santas, or
Okay.
it could pass for
For
anything,
Hanukkah.
yeah. And one of our board members, Colleen, had what could be a fun idea, a contest to name the Friends VIS bookshop. She was listening to a PBS show that was talking about it with other libraries. And ideas like a novel experience and tidal wave came up. Anyways, Melanie and I were checking out the space last week, and the space across over the door down there is very small. And when you stand back far enough, the exit sign hangs down and you almost can't even see it. But we have the entire vertical window on the left-hand side of the door, which right now only has in it a sign that says that it's a bookstore. So we were thinking maybe a fun winter experience, try to get some kids involved in coming up with a fun name for it. You know, have Corey come up with some fun idea to advertise it, and could be interesting. So what do you think?
And maybe, I love it, and maybe you could announce the winner during the event, the spoken,
The Friday or the February repurposed book art,
right?
right? Yeah, so we'd have to get it going in January, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah, I think it'd be kind of fun. You know,
Nice.
Are we going to ask the school? the
yeah, I think we
students?
try to get some kids
Some
involved.
students.
I think. Yeah, I'm not really sure how to do that, other than maybe try to do it through Leah,
Mm.
through the kids coming actually to the library.
Yeah, the programs that you have
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, so I figured if you guys think it's a fun idea, I'll talk to Fran and Leah about it, because she'll be here 1st of January. And, because I think rather than throw it out to people that don't even come to the library, it would be more fun to try to
Yeah.
maybe get some people that actually come to the
Mhm.
library and actually know where the VIS room is.
Mhm.
So, well, yeah, we can come up with some parameters if you guys think it would be.
When we had the book place in the old library, wasn't that called something
The
because?
Pandora room.
Yeah, because of Norma,
Why was it called the Pandora Room?
because a friend of Norma's gave money
Right.
and.
I think his money paid for all that shelving.
So that's how it was, why it was called that.
Yeah.
Is the Pandora more of a mythical reference, or was it related to the
I thought it
donor?
was
No, that was
related-
his name.
That was his name. That
Oh,
was
okay,
his name.
okay, got it.
He's
I was
the
like
one
Pandora,
that
like
did-
Pandora's box,
Yeah.
like the room was, yeah.
He's the one who had the jazz concert for.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She sponsored that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So, but yeah, rather than have it in somebody's memory, I think it'd be more fun to have a fun name.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like,
Catchy.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
people will start talking about it.
Yeah.
With that name.
Yeah.
Oh, it's. I
Because
got
we're
that.
not looking for money. We're not looking for naming rights. We're looking
Right.
for a fun.
Recognize.
You're, yeah,
Yeah.
community engagement, yeah, that makes sense.
So,
Tidal wave.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that that's
all right.
nice. Yeah.
I will talk to Corey about it and see what
Cool.
he has a fun idea for it. What else? We're gonna undecorate the library on January 2nd. That's what we usually do for our meeting in January. And our next regular meeting is February 6th. How can it be?
Mm-hmm.
25.
I know, 2025.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I just have a question. I see, I'm looking at the menu and it looks terrific.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, how did you come up with 50 people based on?
Based on, that's what we use
Thing that we did for,
the Friends annual meeting.
Yeah.
And once we started thinking about the possibility of who could come, like
Yeah.
from other libraries and stuff,
Yeah.
we thought, well, 50, because you saw the food at the annual meeting.
Mhm.
Mary's idea of 50 is
Yeah.
all 50 people have one of everything,
Mhm.
when you know that never happens.
Yeah.
So the thing is that she's very generous. When you tell her 50 people,
Mhm. Yeah.
she's very generous with the amount of food that she brings. And we're gonna do the coffee and the lemonade upstairs. We'll get,
Because I'm thinking that.
Yeah.
Well, people from town hopefully.
hopefully,
I'm hoping so. I
Some
mentioned it to
stuff like-
Jackie when I saw
Yeah,
her on
yeah, yeah,
Monday,
some stuff,
so.
I mean, not stuff, but people
Yeah.
like that,
Mhm.
and maybe parents that have worked with it, I mean.
We,
because of their
we had
children.
some parents say that this was a better time for them, so I'm hoping we'll get at least a
Because
few
you changed it
families.
from the
Yeah.
lunch to the,
Yep, exactly, to a little
later.
later. And I think that in that case, we'll get some folks from the schools too, like the school librarians,
Oh, yeah.
and some teachers too.
and the children's place
So,
is
the
hi.
sending,
children's place.
Hmm, yes, they're
Yeah,
planning
yeah.
to,
the children's place is sending at least 3.
yeah. Mhm.
And the fact that it's 2 to 4, not
Yeah.
everybody's gonna have lunch at that time, so we have a lot of
Be spread out.
leeway
Hmm,
with the food.
Mhm.
yeah.
Can you pass that around, Mary? so
Yeah,
that
sure.
The other side.
You know, we're gonna be
Hi, how are you?
Yeah.
petite.
Welcome, Olivia.
Yeah, surprised I actually got here by now. Sometimes we can't even like
Make
get
it
out
out.
of Cable Road until like 3:50.
Oh,
yeah.
I live on Nauset and I know.
Oh, I know.
Like at that time of day, you just
Yeah.
can't try.
Yeah,
to
between 8 and 8:45, I don't leave my house.
Yeah.
I live on
It's
Schoolhouse
true.
Road,
Yeah.
and I can be sitting in my kitchen, and at 3:15, the traffic starts.
People. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for making this work. Appreciate it.
Yes, thanks.
Yes, thank
Thank you.
So we skipped over you to do Debbie, so we'll go back
Okay.
to yours. One thing that we wanted to discuss with you, I know it feels like it's early to talk about when you are going to be moving on and graduating. But we found in the past, if we wait until the spring to talk about it, then you're
Yeah.
already very busy. So two things is thinking about somebody for next year for your seat. So if you have anybody
Okay.
who you think might be interested,
Mhm.
just putting out feelers or giving us
Mhm.
ideas.
Yeah,
About,
I can think of some people. Yeah,
okay,
for me,
great.
Tim, obviously. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the one requirement as a.
Yeah.
And then also to thank you and to celebrate you having participated with us on the board. We generally like to do something with you outside of the meeting. In the past, we've done a dinner, if that would work for you.
Yeah, definitely.
You like to eat?
I think last year we went right after our meeting and
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
convenient for people. So that's a
Cool.
thought, like on a,
Yeah,
either, I know June is pretty busy for you as graduating, but
Yeah.
in May or whatever day might work for you, that our
Yeah, yeah.
meeting, if that works for everybody else.
Yeah, so maybe like the April or May meeting.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. I can like look at, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And maybe it would be helpful if you think of a few names, Olivia, to email them to Sarah and Al.
Mhm.
Okay.
Are we limiting it to seniors, or are we?
No, I think we decided last
yeah,
year,
right,
it doesn't have to be a senior.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They just have to live in Eastham.
Okay. Yeah, I can definitely think of a few people.
Right.
And then anything on your side.
Oh, yeah, so something I was thinking that I could do, we have the giant TV screens in the cafeteria now, or it's like a projector. And so we have all information whenever something is happening. So I was thinking I could make something like every month about like what's happening at the library and just like project up on the screen, like any things. So I could start it with January, the stuff going on in the library. So who would I like get in contact with to see like what stuff you guys wanted to be?
Probably Corey.
Yeah, Corey, didn't he work with?
He just works pretty intimately with the calendar, so he'd be a great contact point to be like, all right, this is like everything that's happening.
Okay.
Kind of covering everybody's different programs that they're doing. So yeah, he'd be a great resource to get started with, just to get like a list of what we've got going on. Yeah. Corey Fancock. I can send you his email right after this meeting.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
so you have that. Mhm.
And would Fran be another person?
Yes, I
Given
can-
her output, but her work with the various schools. and
Yeah,
stuff
I
like
think,
that.
I think we'll also wanna, maybe kind of connect Olivia more directly with Leah, just as the transition is kind of happening, but I can CC all programming staff on there. I just think that sometimes it's helpful, like for your purposes, to have sort of one person instead of,
Yeah.
am I
yeah,
waiting for
yeah,
everybody
yeah.
to respond kind of a
Yeah,
thing, but
yeah.
yeah, I think everybody, I'll give everyone the opportunity to give their 2 cents to Olivia,
Okay,
definitely.
yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
I was also thinking if, as ambassador for the remaining months, it might be a good idea to make contact with Leah, our new child librarian.
Okay.
Because I know we've been really interested in engaging older, the older childhood population.
Mm.
And so, that might just be helpful to just meet her
Okay,
and
yeah,
talk to her.
okay.
She's wonderful.
Yeah, definitely.
She'll be here full time in January.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, cause I know like Fran, like everybody will like remembers her from like elementary school and
Aw.
or Eastham kid.
Yeah, she was the librarian at school for a short time. and My daughter was there.
Oh, no way.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
for
cool.
a very short time, but yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
So-
also, Just a reminder, Fran's going away party is this Friday from 2 to 4
Okay, yeah.
upstairs.
Okay.
So if you can come and if you can think of anybody else that you think might like to, just
Yeah.
fill a car and come on down.
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
Good food.
Yeah,
check
yeah,
the
we have.
Food out.
Everyone's invited.
Maybe we add some, make it more than.
the menu.
Yeah.
Got a couple more people. Okay. Great, so director's report.
Cool, all right. So I have attached the draft annual report to the town. And Al gave a few edits to that. But if anyone has any other suggestions, you can feel free to, send those to me, or if you're feeling like there's a big sort of theme that I missed. This is obviously, just kind of like a highlight. It's not exhaustive of everything that the library does. And it's just, kind of me trying to take some things that I think will be, I don't know, really nice for the annual report, as opposed to sort of an exhaustive list of sort of everything that we do, because we know we do much more than can be kind of comprised in one single report to the town.
Yes.
But I like to, mention all staff and talk about sort of big trends that we do and things like that. But any edits I am more than welcome to receive there.
When is that due?
I would like to have it to them by the end of the year, just so that we can kind of, check that off the list, but it's not really due until January. But, it's nice for us to
get
Yeah.
it.
as soon as possible.
possible, yeah.
I would like to have, I'm planning to send it into her by the end of December, so any edits before then would be appreciated.
I read it, I thought it looks great.
Great,
Yeah, me
thank you. Great.
In the comments.
I also attached Mary Ann's report. A lot of you have already heard of, all the specifics of how the Turnip Festival went, but her full report is there for your reference. And please reach out to her or, myself with any questions about that. Next on my list is library holiday hours. There was a typo in the agenda that I sent out. My apologies, I didn't catch that before sending it to everyone, but town hall is going to be closing at noon on Christmas Eve. And all library staff, as members of the Eastham Employee Association, get a half day that day. So I would like for us to kind of be in line with town hall and close at noon that day. Christmas, we would be closed to give staff holiday time. The other change is we are normally open until 8 p.m. on Tuesdays, and this year, New Year's Eve falls on a Tuesday, and staff do not receive additional holiday time over that. But what I would like to do is reduce our hours that day, anticipating that there's not going to be much interest in being in the library into the evening, and to allow for staff to be home and, be safe after dark and everything like that. So town hall is closing at 4 on New Year's Eve, and I would like for us to close at 4 p.m. on New Year's Eve as well. And just because this is sort of beyond what the staff would get in the employee association contract, I wanted to have the trustees officially sign off on those additional closures.
So on Tuesday, the 24th, it is open from 10 a.m. to noon. Is that correct?
Correct.
Gotcha.
So the additional hours is that it's not really a half day, it's just two hours.
The real thing that I'm asking for is for us to close 4 hours early on New Year's Eve. I'm thinking that the 12 on Christmas Eve is, in the past, we've set a precedent that we will close early to allow staff to have their holiday time. So that's just kind of checking a box there, but really it's New Year's Eve because we don't get any additional holiday time there. And I'm not giving staff any holiday time, just asking staff to move their hours up earlier
Oh, I
in the
see.
day. Yeah, sorry, that was
Oh,
unclear.
okay.
Yeah, so staff would be still working a full day, but we wouldn't be expanding the library open hours until 8
Got it.
p.m. that we normally do on that
You're
Tuesday.
condensing it.
Yes.
Got it.
Thanks for clarifying.
Yeah, thanks.
Do you want to vote?
Yeah, yes.
I make a motion that we approve the times as indicated in the agenda for Christmas and New Year's.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
4-0.
Thank you. Okay. I don't have additional information from Blue Sky about additional closures, but they are anticipating that the week between Christmas and New Year's would be a good time to refinish the floors. So that's when I'm still kind of thinking we would have some additional closures, but I'm waiting for more information before I kind of put information out there that I might have to correct or update. but that would make a lot of sense because we do have staff who tend to take additional vacation time. We have a lot of members of the public who are traveling or visiting family, so it would be a slower time in the library. And we don't have a ton of programs, so it's really, I would like to get that work done as soon as possible.
How exactly, how have things been going? I mean, I obviously haven't been up on the roof. We've had some rain lately. I've heard and gotten your assortment of emails over time where it's water still coming in.
So last week, they did the big fix that was supposed to be the solve that they had proposed. And at the end of the work, they got kind of rained out of doing like the very last area with the actual like sealant and the caulking. And so it didn't set correctly. It was like smeared essentially, not
Because the rain.
because the rain, the
caused them
moisture
to
up
not
there.
Complete what needed to be done.
Yeah, or they had laid it down, but because there was moisture up there, it moved and it didn't provide the seal that it was supposed to. So we had some rain and then a period where it was dry, and then we had a lot of rain
Mhm.
again. And that's when they were putting in the ductwork. And that's when we noticed water coming through in one specific spot. So that helped them kind of identify, specifically what was going on. And then we had a clear day after that, and we had folks from DPW on site as well as the on-site project manager. And I'm not sure what his project title is, but the gentleman who was like the leader of the crew who was actually on the roof doing the work,
Mhm.
they were all here. The folks that were, supposed to go up and take a look they saw that the sealant had not set correctly, it had moved. So the next day, when they had good weather, they went back up there,
Reseal.
resealed the affected area. And they feel really confident that now it's all like set like it was supposed to be. And so they really want to move forward with the other elements of work to kind of keep us on track for the internal stuff.
Mm. Should, before they do the next step, should we, I'm not an engineer, should we be waiting before, if we have a really bad rainstorm, before we do the next step, since we're not completely sure that what's been done is complete?
In my meeting with
I don't
Jackie
know.
yesterday, which feels like a longer time ago than yesterday.
Sure.
She and I kind of talked about this, and I was saying that I feel really fortunate that we did have all that rain. It felt like a
Oh,
natural test.
I agree.
And I want to move forward with their confidence. But, I have my own anxieties, and I think we all have our own anxieties. And I'm wondering if maybe there would be time to do another water test before they totally reseal
Yep,
the
yep.
floors again.
That's where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I'm coming from.
Even if it takes a little longer, even if they're not doing it between the holidays.
Okay.
I mean, it's not July, right?
Right.
It's like,
Yeah,
It's January.
this is
Yeah,
the
yeah.
pretty slow after.
January and February is gonna be the slowest time, and March is the
Must be
slowest.
I just think
Yeah.
that we haven't had a really bad rainstorm following what they think is a completed.
I mean, they were convinced the
work.
last time.
I
Mhm.
know.
And I would say the sentiment from the public is not like, when's it gonna look normal again? It's just people wanna know what happened. And I think it would look worse if, okay, we did this fix, we refinished the floors, and then that
And then we
being a
had
horrible outcome.
additional-
People- Yeah,
Yeah.
Issues.
it's like, I think that needs to be 1,000% certainty that the roof is now fixed. It would be my,
Yeah,
Okay.
of course, we thought that before, Sarah.
I
right,
know. Yeah.
but that's what I'm saying.
But we
you
have
know.
to give every chance.
Right,
to be
right,
yeah.
to offer, yeah.
Successful,
Okay. Thank you for that feedback.
yeah.
Any other questions or comments about that? I will follow up with those folks this afternoon.
Just, so we had rain a couple days ago.
Mhm.
Was that after it failed and like, were there leaks after that last rainfall?
Or last night, but I
Not
guess it
last
has to
night.
be heavy, right? 'Cause it
Yeah,
has to-
yeah, and over a longer time,
Longer time period.
So it wasn't enough.
Right.
No.
So the big chunk of rain that we had that was like a day and a half, that was when we had the
Oh.
leak. And the thing was, is it rained all night.
Mm.
We didn't see water coming through until like 11 the next morning. So it was like, we needed like 12
there's
plus
a
hours of
time period
consistent
required.
wind, because it's the wind too, the wind and the water
Uh,
together have always been the problem, because the issue is that water was like getting up behind it, so the wind
Oh,
really starts
okay.
to make the water do the anti-gravity type things.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
so it's that's kind of the thing, is like, we can get bits of rain
And it would be fine.
all the time, and
Mhm,
it's
mhm.
like, not an issue.
Not a problem.
The other thing that Jackie said is, how going forward, so, okay, so we do another water test and like, it's fine, but like, how do we continue to monitor this going forward? So it's not like, if there is some kind of an issue, how can we detect it earlier on than like the
Mhm.
ceiling panels are crumbling? You know what I mean? Because that's
Yeah.
when there's so much moisture in that area that it's
Yeah.
sort of too late to be like, oh, this problem has been going on for a longer time and we didn't know.
Yeah.
So she and I talked about some kind of like humidity sensor. I brought up rodent detection, because if you have like the water coming down, maybe you can have some kind of thing that detects motion up there. So if you had drippage, you would know that that's what was happening.
So there's things I actually bought for my basement that
Mhm.
have on Amazon that is a moisture detector.
Okay. Is it
So,
humidity based or?
no, I guess the
Okay.
water has to actually touch it.
Okay,
And then it does an alarm.
okay.
We, I wonder even, you could even ask, like a security alarm. I mean, people do have
Different types of
moisture
alarms for
alarms.
different types
I
of
know a lot of
issues,
people with second homes
Mhm.
have one, right?
Mhm.
Like,
because they're not here.
yeah, and you can get like a credit on your homeowner's insurance for, so they
Oh.
definitely. This is an issue that has happened to somebody else
Mhm.
that there is a solution for, and I actually think that's a really good point,
Mhm.
good idea.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay.
Hmm.
So I'll look into
Yeah.
more things like that and reach out to DPW to see what kind of options we might have for monitoring going forward.
Would Blue Sky know? I mean,
That's a good
their
point, too.
business. Is
Yeah,
that-
that's a good point.
That's their
Yep,
business there.
that's a good point.
But yeah, that's a great
Why not
idea.
ask the expert?
Mhm.
Mm, mm.
Thank you.
Mm.
Okay. So that's kind of what's going on there. And I will continue to keep you folks all updated as I have more information,
Mhm.
on that.
Is it driving you crazy?
Yes.
No, I
Looks
just,
like it's never gonna
I'm
end.
concerned about it.
It's, yeah, about me
About
be going
you.
crazy. Oh, I'm okay. It
About
just,
being a roofing expert?
yeah.
No, I'm just saying that you're trying to run a business here and meet the needs of the community, and you've got one thing after another coming and going. You think this and that doesn't happen. You think that and that doesn't happen.
Right.
You think this and we're now here and then that doesn't occur.
I am, just trying to be patient through the whole thing.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah.
creatively frustrating in that there were other things that, we had been talking about during the summer that I was sort of looking forward to the fall and the winter, and that, I'm not really able to focus on right now,
yeah,
but,
yeah.
it's, we,
What you gonna do?
right. What are we gonna do? And, I'm just so thankful that the public, as Sarah said, is being, very understanding about all of this,
Mhm,
because what really would be, making me tear my hair out is if people couldn't, understand.
People
how-
aren't coming in and screaming. and
Yeah,
hopefully
but that
being
is not
obnoxious,
happening.
saying,
So, right.
"Yeah, this is a brand new building. How come you've got this
Yeah,
issue?"
yeah. So, but positive things are recruitment is going really well. We just hired a new youth services librarian, and she has been in intermittently training with Fran and meeting the other staff, and just trying to kind of information gather so that she can really hit the ground running when she starts full-time with us in January. So right now she's kind of a little bit halfway between finishing up some holiday stuff that they had scheduled in Chatham, and then kind of training with us. But we're really excited to have Leah on with us full time. Yeah.
Debbie, have you met him?
Well, I knew her from before when she
Yeah.
used to come in all the time with the kids.
Yeah, she's great. And actually, I found out, I don't know how many people were already aware of this, but I was looking at more to come on this, but how we had done strategic planning in the past, and Leah was on our strategic planning committee for the last, I've been meaning to talk to her about that.
I
So
put her on there.
you put her on there, so.
She used to be a neighbor of mine.
Oh, okay. Well, she's still,
Yeah.
local, so it's nice to have her inside
And I
knowledge
thought
on
it would be
staff.
good to have
Actually.
somebody who had young children. I mean,
Yes.
that was a number of years ago now.
Yeah,
so,
now her children are not quite as young. Yeah. But yeah, so that's very exciting. We are also looking to hire a couple new floater monitors because now both Victoria and Anisha have kind of refocused their work to do some different jobs, but we are really lucky in that they both are feeling really committed to continuing on any book club. So we are still going to be able to offer that once a month on Wednesday evenings. And that's just been like, there's just this pocket of people who that type of book discussion group really thrives with them. And so it's not just younger people, but it was initially attractive to some younger folks. So I think we were having a tough time getting into some of our library programs. So I'm really thrilled that that's going to continue.
That's
continue on.
very, I don't know what to say, inspiring.
Yeah.
That they're continuing to do that after, their work here.
Yeah.
So thank them. I think
Yeah,
that would
yeah.
be-
They are continuing to be paid for that time. It's just that
Mhm.
they can't take on regular shifts with us at the circulation desk. And
They have other
things like
jobs.
that.
though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
How many floaters you're looking for?
We are looking to get like a little bit of a pool so that we have some flexibility. Right now, we just did a round of interviews and I'm looking to hire a couple of folks to train in January, but depending on kind of their ability, how this all works out, I'm gonna see how many more we would kind of need to fill sort of upcoming holes as we're looking to plan for summer programming and things like that. And then I'm looking to hire maybe maybe one or two more folks to kind of fill in everything that we have going on. Because in addition to sort of losing two folks, we have a couple of floaters who are needing to pull back on certain shifts just due to their personal commitments and family things that they have going on.
Mhm.
So we're just looking to have a little bit more flexibility to fill in as needed, make sure we're not short going into the summer.
Mhm.
Next on here is some professional development updates. I applied to the Cape Cod Young Professionals 2025 Women's Leadership Initiative cohort, which is sort of a 3-month commitment, but it's every other week. There's a 2-hour meeting on Monday evenings, and the location kind of varies, but there's some like homework that they have you do in between, and they cover different professional development topics. It's a really great networking opportunity, and I included a letter here about how I feel it would be advantageous to me participating in it. So what I'm asking for is the trustees general support, but also financial support for this, but this would not be something that I'm doing like in lieu of my regular time at the library. This is something I'm looking to do in addition to it. So it would be Monday evenings outside of my normal library work, every other week in January, February, and March of this year.
And I'm assuming you're not a member of the Cape Cod Young Professional.
I am not an
No,
active, yeah. no.
So the cost would be the 800.
Yes, yeah.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the request for Melanie for the Cape Cod Young Professional Workshop at the cost of $800.
Second that. And I have just a question. Have any other library professionals been through this?
I am not aware of. That was something that Emily had reached out to me about specifically. She was like, we're really interested in rounding out the folks that participate. So there's people who run nonprofits, there are people who are like local business owners. And so she's like, I'm interested in you as, a young professional in kind of the municipal, but also library setting. Emily, the executive director, has a library background and a library degree. So she's kind of, I think, trying to pull from her areas of interest too. She specifically, as an aside, is working to partner with a bunch of libraries on Cape to do a like networking, professional development combination, like story time. So thinking parents who are, young working professionals have kids that will want to bring to story time, but it can be like an opportunity for them to get to know each other too. But also an opportunity for
Wow.
kids to know more about, not in a like overly schooling kind of way, but introduce them to different industries and, how can you be involved in, fisheries and the environment? What does a fisherman do? Those kinds of things. So yeah, her library background, I think, is really
Popping.
yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That sounds great. And I think it'll lend to your job here very well. So I second it and
Okay,
Yeah.
great. All in favor?
I,
4-0.
Maybe you could put in a good word for them to have, they had a networking breakfast here.
Yeah, they did.
What, before COVID? I
Yeah.
think It was 20.
It was a while ago.
Something, it would be great to have them back again, because it was really interesting. There was a lot of them.
Mhm.
And, I think they really liked coming here, but then I think COVID came in.
Yeah.
Just,
But they've been talking about bringing back their like coffee hours, which is, I think is what you're saying, right? It was like a
Well, they have
coffee.
a breakfast meeting, I don't know whether they have it every month
Okay.
or what, because we had, remember, Mary, we had a lot of
Yeah.
breakfast.
Had
Yeah.
Lauren Barker was
Yeah.
our employee, a town employee, and she is heavily involved with the Cape Cod Young Professionals. She's no longer a town employee. In fact, I think she might be involved with the Cape Cod Young Professionals now. She left the town.
Oh, again,
to-
okay.
I'm not exactly sure, but she left the town, and I think she's involved with the Cape Cod Young Professionals now, but she was a town employee here.
We'll see about offering our space to
Yeah,
host
yeah.
for networking things for them. It's great.
She's a big supporter of the library here.
Yes, yeah, her kids attend lots of programs,
Yeah.
which is very
They'll
cool.
come to probably tonight.
I'm sorry?
They'll probably come to trivia.
Oh, yeah. Okay, thank you so much for that support. Did we do it all
Yes.
with, okay.
Yes.
Other updates that we have, the legislative event that CLAMS sort of puts together every year. Last year,
Mhm.
we had a legislative lunch event at the Centerville Public Library. It was a slightly smaller in-person event than we've had prior to COVID, just because of the space that Centerville had available. We're looking to hopefully allow more folks to attend this year. We had to limit the number of invitations we could give to member libraries. I'm hoping that we would be able to have maybe like 4 people attend. I'm thinking give the opportunity to our trustee chair, co-chair, president of the Friends, and maybe one other person, but we're still waiting for more information on that. Right now, we're strongly considering the Eldridge Public Library or the Mashpee Public
Mhm.
Library. And I'm just trying to touch base with Michael Holcomb, who is my contact with the delegation, about dates in January that the delegation's available. They had thrown out January 6th, and I just don't think that that's going to be enough
Mm.
time to
Mhm.
get things together.
It's a Monday, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, it's the first Monday in
Mhm.
January.
Yeah.
So,
They've had it at the Mashpee Public Library before. I've been to a couple that they had there in the
yeah,
past.
Mashpee
That's a
is
big, pretty big sized room.
yeah, it's a
for-
great space.
Yeah.
I was interested in Eldridge just because it's a little bit of a different area of the Cape from last year. But both would be great options. And it'll kind of depend on availability, I think. But I will keep you folks updated about that information as I have more there. And that is pretty much it for me, unless anyone has any questions.
I was just saw an email, like a holiday card from the MDLC chair, but what happened with the legislation with the ebooks? Did it pass or
It is, I think, still.
nothing's happened? with it?
Nothing has progressed on that. I haven't heard any. And then this is kind of like the way that it goes is there's a
Right.
lot of, oh my gosh, what's going on with that? And then it moves very slow. And then the public support drops off a little bit. So thank you for bringing it back up, because I think it is important that we try and continue to follow these areas that we're interested in to make sure that public support continues through these bills as they go through.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Mhm.
All right, now we are going to discuss the trustee report card. Does anyone have any specific, I'll send along 2 comments. But if anyone has any others, we can start with those, or we can start with Al's. I can start with Al's. In the packet, the one on the bottom of the first page, and then the third one down on the second page, Al's comments were that they were very similar. So it's, does the board work closely with municipal governing agents?
Right.
And the other one is, does the board maintain a good working relationship with local government officials?
Mhm.
Are we looking to edit it now? Or just talk about our comments,
No,
We should just talk about the comments right now,
and then maybe when Al's back, or
or next time we do it.
we just have to remember. Or,
Oh, he will.
yeah,
Well, he said if you agree, just let me know and I'll edit it for next year to
Fine.
take out one of them.
I don't
Yeah.
think, we didn't put these together.
I know, that's what I
I
thought.
don't think that we edit, this is,
We-
this
The
is, this is an MBLC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can edit, it. We have edited it,
So I just,
but we have edited it. It's a format to use and then adjust it, as we think is.
You know what I can do is go and check and make sure that it still looks like this, because maybe they have noticed
Could be.
that it's redundant and.
The
they changed
MBLC?
it. Yes.
yeah,
I vote we just discuss our comments right now.
Okay.
And then we can revisit the format if we agree to do that. The only thing I misunderstood one of the questions as I now read through it, and that was on the second page. So I would probably change my answer to, does the board work systematically to assure adequate current and future library funding? I kind of read that as like this related to the question underneath about looking for donations or, so I would change my answer. Because I think we do, we're doing the budget all the time.
I agree. I thought it was the same thing
All
as
the
well.
time.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's my only comment.
Right, so I would change mine to yes, because we're funded.
That's what to do, yeah.
What about you, Mary? Are you?
no, I don't think we do enough as far as future library funding is concerned. We only work right now, we're just working on next year fiscal year. That to me isn't future library funding.
How would we do it different?
Well, that's a discussion that we've had several times with this group, and we're back to cultivation and that's one of the questions that's on here. Does the board cultivate its donors? And just about everybody has a no.
Mhm.
And to me, future isn't next year.
Right.
Future is a long time from now. And I don't think we've really spent much time discussing that aspect of this library.
Yeah, I think the bigger discussion then is how much should we depend on philanthropy and how much do we depend on the state and the town? And we've been putting a lot of emphasis on the town
Right,
funding,
right.
fully funding.
That's
the
something that
library.
I've been pushing for
You
the
have
last
been. So,
couple
so
years.
it feels a little contradictory to me to then switch our focus to philanthropy.
This might be something we talk about in our.
And strategic.
planning.
Strategic
It is
plan.
a strategic issue.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
strategic, because
bigger
that's
topic.
just, as I said, it's not next year.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
could you make a
down
note,
the road.
Melanie, that's something we should, thanks.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I agree.
Are there any other comments on the report card?
Well, I had a no under the first page. Do you have a training, orientation, or mentor program for new trustees that is jointly conducted by senior trustees and the library director? And I don't think that we have that.
Well, I felt like when we did this last year, and I happen to be new, that I would use the word orientation, that everybody worked to put together an email that would be sent out with.
Oh, this is with the
Documents.
documents, yeah, but
Yeah.
that's a piece of paper that's sent to you by email. And that you can use to look up and, MBLC and the various work documents that are available for people that are new to a trustee position. But that to me isn't a mentor. I mean, I know you and I have met individually.
Right,
And I just feel that we could do a better job of when people are new to incorporate them into the trustee position.
okay, I can only say as a new trustee that I felt like it went well.
You felt supported
yeah,
with your
I
question.
mean, I had already happened to know you from,
Well, you've been
The
coming
kids.
for a year, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I think the fact that we live in a small town and this is a small community, I feel totally comfortable going and talking to Melanie at any time. So.
Yeah. I mean, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I guess that's it.
I feel that, you know, we are a small enough community that if a new trustee were to come in, we would adjust to what their needs
Yeah.
would be. We have that luxury
Hmm.
because we're a small community. I think if you're in a city, then you do need something more formal. But so I said we somewhat do it, which is, I think,
Right,
fair. But I don't think we need to spend a lot of time on a formal mentoring program unless there's a need for it.
mm-hmm. Yes, I agree. And then Al's other comment was on the top of the second page. I guess he was saying, what does this even say? It's our qualifications and duties clearly stated and terms of appointment limited. Oh, that's for the trustee. You know, when somebody asked the question, like you thought you knew what it was, and then he commented on it, and then I went back and read it, and I'm like, what is this talking about? But now I see this.
So
So you're saying that,
What was, Al had a comment on that, but now it's not making sense to me.
No, it's because he's questioning the fact that I didn't respond.
Okay,
That's me.
yeah.
yeah,
And I don't remember whether why I didn't respond, or, I mean, I thought I responded to everything that was the form. Yeah. So the question is that I'm missing.
okay.
Right.
I think that was, let me check. What he said again. Okay, well, it's.
I don't think we have qualifications and duties clearly stated. We have the thing at the bottom of our thing saying that, you know, trustee liaison stuff, but
He says, I agree with Mary's questioning of this.
yeah.
I said yes, but in hindsight, I don't think we do this.
Yeah.
I thought we just went over that in our bylaws. It says what trustees
I think it is in our bylaws.
do. And then
Yeah, I mean,
I think when we did the individual report card, we're reflective of our duties
Duties.
too.
yeah,
Perhaps not, I mean. Perhaps we don't talk about qualifications, I don't.
I suppose, but I guess it's the way that I view these things is, you know, it's kind of all about necessity of circumstance. So, you know, if we were in a situation where I don't know, really necessary for us to have somebody with like an MBA on the board, I
A
don't think.
lawyer.
Sure, these are all examples of things that could be
Construction.
relevant, but maybe are
Yeah,
not.
builder.
So it's, you know, and what is, you know, clearly defined role. Okay,
Yeah.
maybe we could use more words to define the roles, but is that something the board feels is necessary? Are there members on the board who feel like they don't have an understanding of what sort of they're being tasked with? Or if I were to come to them for some kind of that they wouldn't know how to respond? I think if the board feels like they are a little bit clear in their mission, then that's maybe the degree to which it needs to be defined, but that's, you know, sort of up to you guys about how you want to define it.
yeah.
I'm not sure we need to go looking for. a
Yeah,
problem that's not
yeah.
there.
Right.
Yeah.
We could make our lives really clear. And putting fixes in place for things that aren't a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like the fact that each of you, the liaison thing, that each of you has a couple of things that you are responsible for. So therefore, you're going to know more about those and pay more attention to those. Generally, everything, but in, you know, specifically those. I don't know whether a lot of trustees groups do that, but I think it's really really valuable
Mhm.
to all of you, that each one of you has kind of a special.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's important to have a board where everybody on the board perhaps has their strengths and their weaknesses. I'm not saying it's bad to have a weakness, but I'm just saying that it's good to have people it on the board that have different strengths,
Yeah.
so that when we need to discuss
Mhm.
things, we could get input from people that, based on their strengths.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Any more comments on the report card? Okay. So we'll move on to the ELBFI
Dissolution. Dissolution.
Um. So Al thought we needed to make a motion for the board to say that, to authorize Al to send a letter to the Secretary of the Commonwealth.
Mhm.
Um. But we didn't send out, Al wanted to update the letter with, in the last
I
paragraph.
put
Did you
together.
get it? Did you
I
get it,
put
Mary?
together a letter, a draft of a letter. I put together all of the documents that I feel need to be included in the letter. I sent it to Al because it was agreed that he and I would be working on it together.
Yeah,
He took my draft and he sent me, and I think everybody else,
mhm.
some comments
Did you
regarding,
see it, Jim?
what his thoughts were on the letter itself. And I think that, his comments were good and should be incorporated into my draft, and I gave him all of the documents that I have found. I have found a letter with ELBFI stationery regarding the monies to the trustees. I have a letter from the trustees signed by me regarding the acceptance of the monies. I have a copy of the check, the date, etc. And that's what I gave to Al. So,
Okay, he has a change,
another change?
yes, he wants to replace paragraph 3 with. Given that your notice of non-compliance was sent to W. Russell
Molick.
Treasurer of the Eastham Library Fund, Inc., ELBFI, now deceased, and the Board of ELBFI has not existed since 2019, the Board of Trustees of the Eastham Public Library, to whom all funds were transferred, suggests that your records note the administrative dissolution of the Eastham Library Building Fund, Inc. at year end 2019.
I think that needs to be said,
What, okay,
what he just added.
Yeah, I have no problem with his,
I can send this to you, or do
his comments.
you want me to email it to you, or,
Yeah,
okay,
So Al, the letter has to come from Al because he is the
Yes.
current chair. I'm not the chair. And so it should come from Al. He has the attachments, all the documents to attach that I gave him a couple weeks ago. And he's got the stationery.
I think that the final letter, that the minute should reflect that we approved a final letter
Mhm.
to William Galvin, and that we attached the whole letter to the minutes.
yeah,
Yes, I agree. Because none of this was in the packet today.
Right, so what I need is the whole final letter.
Yeah.
okay,
Al has to,
And with the, I think the attachments.
yeah.
Noted at the
CC.
bottom of the letter, you know how you do.
Yes, DC.
so I won't even send you, because you
No,
you
don't.
don't even have this thing.
No,
Okay,
I'd like the final
Okay.
letter.
Yeah, the one with the updates.
with the-
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the
Yeah.
Attachments, and I
Okay.
will attach it to the minutes.
Yeah.
So, but we can still do the motion.
Yeah.
That the trustees approved, the
The letter,
the letter
a letter to Mr. Galvin.
a letter.
regarding the dissolution of the Eastham Library building funding or something like that. Well, you're better at that than I am.
And I'm gonna just note that it's attached, and then we can vote on, although you won't have seen the final one, you've heard the final,
Mhm.
okay?
Could you
Is that
just,
okay?
yes, it's okay. Can you
So
repeat? Yeah,
read the whole thing,
Yeah.
read the whole new letter to us.
if you
Okay.
don't mind.
Dear Mr. Galvin, enclosed is a letter dated October 11th, 2024, sent by your office to the Eastham
Mhm.
Library Building Fund, Inc., a not-for-profit charitable organization, EIN number 2740999898, regarding the filing requirements of annual reports for years 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024. Also attached are documents noting the Eastham Library Building Fund, Inc. dissolved at year-end 2019, and all residual funds were given to the municipality of Eastham, the Board of Trustees of the Eastham Public Library. Given that your notice of noncompliance was sent to W. Russell Moylick, Treasurer of the Eastham Library Building Fund, Inc., ELBFI, now deceased, and the Board of ELBFI has not existed since 2019. The Board of Trustees of the Eastham Public Library, to whom all funds were transferred, suggests that your records note the administrative dissolution of the Eastham Library Building Fund, Inc. at year-end 2019.
Yeah.
So the motion reads,
Thank
the
you.
motion moved, seconded, that the trustees approve a letter to Mr. Galvin from Al Alfano, Chair of the Eastham Library Trustees, as read to the trustees and attached to these minutes. Okay.
Who wants to make the motion?
I'll let somebody else do it since I'm the one that's written it.
I don't wanna
Go ahead.
belabor too much, but
Yep.
in the second paragraph,
Yeah,
does it make sense? Also attached are documents noting the Eastham Library Building Fund, Inc. dissolved at year end 2019, and all residual funds were given to the municipal. That doesn't make sense to me.
right, yeah.
Were given,
Oh, I see what they're trying to say.
um. That were given,
Yeah, noted. Also attached are documents noting that the Eastham Library Building Fund, Inc. dissolved at year end in 2019, and that all residual funds were given to the municipality.
and that all
Mm-hmm,
residual funds. Maybe,
yes, so to that.
Yeah.
Yes,
okay. That makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah. So if with those additions and edits, I would move that we, I don't even know what the word is. I move that.
So you're seconding.
Oh, I'm
I
second, I'm
already-
sorry, second,
Okay.
okay.
Who's the first?
I was.
Willow,
Will? Okay.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
4-0.
Be
Okay.
interesting to see what happens.
All right. Well, we'll make sure. That is.
Okay, so you will not get these minutes. I usually get them out tonight or tomorrow morning, but you won't get them until I get the letter.
mm-hmm,
Makes sense, okay.
All right, the new business of preparing for strategic planning.
yes. Now is the time for us to update our strategic plan. I think it actually is kind of falling really nicely. The town is updating their town-wide strategic plan, and I just gave some library input on that. The research that I've done so far has indicated that the planning process can be condensed as we've done it previously. Last time we did it, it took, I think, between like 9 months and a year between like starting the planning process and writing the plan. And I would like to kind of half that. We're kind of planning to plan right now, but I'd like to do the bulk of the action work that would be necessary to write the plan during kind of the first quarter, after the new year. So really like February through May. January is gonna be like a busy time with the legislative event and things like that, so thinking that February would be more availability for folks that we invite to participate in the community planning committee to do that. So I had my proposal written to you guys that I included in the packet. I sent that draft proposal to Michelle Eberly and Oscar. Oh gosh, I can't remember his last name, but they're two consultants with the Massachusetts Library System that we can use to support this initiative, and they are available to, as their schedules allow, to be like facilitators as we do initial meetings, especially with the community planning committee. So they said that I'm, on the right track, and I have a consult scheduled with Michelle on Thursday to talk more about kind of plans going forward, get more details out there, and sort of specify certain action items and how we're going to get community input. Are we going to do a survey? Are we going to do interviews? What kinds of things are we going to do there? She had hoped that she might be able to actually attend virtually this meeting today, but it was too short notice there. So my apologies there, but we will get more information from MLS about the best ways to move forward, but she thinks it's realistic for us to condense that timeline as compared to how we've done it previously. So that's kind of where I am now. Does anyone have any questions or comments on that? I think that this is something we do need board approval for, to, say that we're gonna move forward that way. So, if there are strong feelings that, for any reason now isn't the time, we should talk about that.
Are you looking at having in-person meetings like we did the last time?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
How many, talking about phase one here,
Mhm.
how many participants are you thinking?
On the community planning committee,
Mhm.
I believe it's usually between like 12 and 18,
Mhm.
more than 10, fewer than 20. From the research that I have, those kinds of details are things I'm gonna want to get from Michelle, but I think we had like,
I'm trying to remember
15
how many
people
we
on the
had
last
last
one.
time.
Oh,
Do you
God, we
remember,
had-
Deb?
Yeah, we had
We had
a
quite a
lot of
few.
people, because there was like 4 of us that split up the list.
Mhm.
And I think each of us had at least
Yeah, a
Five
couple of different people.
people.
I have the
Fire-
list,
From
I just,
last time?
yes, not
Yeah.
on me, but I
Yeah,
have
yeah,
access to it.
Yeah.
Not in my brain, but yeah, I have those
Okay.
names,
And-
yeah.
And do you remember how many?
I think it was like 15 folks, yeah, 15 or 16 folks.
Yeah, because you're right, Deb. We
Seems
each,
like a lot.
we each got
I mean, it
a
seems like we
number
had
of
more
people
than
that we were responsible for trying to
Right.
Mhm.
incorporate into the program.
Well, you probably ask more folks and, anticipating that people would say no,
Yeah.
because people are busy and things like that, and you want to make sure you get your full spectrum. So I wanted to, make sure that we have a lot of lead time to think about names and participation, and maybe like float it to people so that they can like think about it over the holidays and stuff like that. So that's kind of a big ask that I want the board to be thinking about, but specifically for today, we would want to vote to approve that we're going to engage in this process and set aside a pocket of money to kind of fund, because as you have any in-person meetings, we want to make sure that we're feeding folks and, planning for the materials that we would spend to write the plan, and any materials that we use for the like surveying process and such. And I actually thought, I don't know if this is, co-opting, but I thought maybe if we are doing a community planning survey, it could be an opportunity to add a vote for the VIS renaming, almost like as an incentive. Like if you fill out the community survey, then you get to like contribute a name to the, I don't know, just as like, as we're thinking of planning, maybe it could be like a fun way to solicit involvement too, or something like that, so.
Is Michelle gonna come again like she did last time?
So the facilitator, depending on whether it'll be her or Oscar, will be like their availability, but she is the person that I have my consult meeting with on Thursday, so I'll be getting more information from her.
And I think they're free. I mean, they
Yes,
provide
yes.
that for free.
Yes, that is, I did reach out to a couple of like official organizations so that, we could explore the possibility of paying a consultant or facilitator. But some folks said, I'm not taking any new clients right now. And some folks never got back to me. And given that Michelle and MLS has been super responsive and that they are a free, readily available service, that's really where I'm planning to focus our efforts. I think that will be a really valuable resource there.
Just have a quick question about the, kind of shortening it. What would we give up? Like what compared to the last process, what happened? Or was it just that we had longer between meetings and.
That, I wasn't involved in nearly the same capacity, so I'm not sure if that was like, well, we just think that this is the time it's gonna take. I imagine it was like partially just everyone's availability. The building had like just been finished. There's like lots of other things, not that there aren't other things going on right now, but lots of different big moving parts. And I think a big thing is that it ended up just, there were pieces that went over the summer. And I think if you're doing anything over the summer, it's just gonna make it take that much longer because like you don't have the meeting space available. People are really busy. Are you really accomplishing things in the summer, or is it almost like a hiatus where you're not really, you know, meeting with folks and getting more information? So that was kind of what the book that I've been looking at, which Michelle said that there's some more updated approaches that she can add to my perspective. But the book that I was reading says like the process for planning takes the time that you plan for it to take. And many times if you think, okay, it's going to take like a year or whatever, like you start to lose sort of support for it because people are saying, you know, it's taking such a long time and are we really moving? Yeah, are we really moving? So if you can condense it a little bit, yes, it's like a lot of work up front, but you're essentially putting in the same amount of effort overall and arguably putting in more work if you let it take too long because you have to continue to, you know, update folks and fill them in or remind them on what you did previously. So that's another reason why I was hoping to kind of condense it a little bit to focus that energy up front.
But the other thing I'm
Yeah.
thinking is that I think we should have at least one or maybe more people that are non-resident taxpayers on the committee. And that we should get their input, and in order to get their input, sometimes they're not here in the middle of the winter. And I think it's important to include them in our process here, so I'm not.
Yeah, I can ask Michelle about the
Maybe
possibility.
they could come even though it's not summer. I mean, there's some people that do come even though it's not the summertime, but yeah,
Maybe we
just-
could reach out to some of the people, like there's a lot of part-time people on committees now.
Yeah.
I mean, they're invested in
Yeah,
coming to their second home a lot.
right.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, you know, like Tom and people like that are around a lot.
People that are on the part-time resident taxpayers association.
Yeah, the planning board has at least one, I mean, all the boards.
Yeah, we had
Except-
Tom on the finance committee.
Is
So
this
anyways, yeah.
is this your first time doing a strategic plan as the library director?
Yes, I gave input to the last strategic plan and in my academic library experience, they were, you know, updating goals and things like that. So I'm not at all an expert. I've never led a strategic plan, but I have some experience with working on strategic plans. So kind of excited. I'm a little daunted, but I'm kind of excited.
I've done hundreds of these.
Great.
Doing one tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock for the Climate Action Committee.
Oh, are you?
So
Oh, good.
I've been working for 3 months on that one.
Oh, my God.
And you can do it in three, you're right, it takes as much time as you provide. And the shorter the time, the better the quality, because it's in, you know, people are working on it. But it requires, a lot of time from the facilitator to conduct, you know, 15 interviews, that's 15 hours of interviewing. And then you have to write up those interviews, you have to analyze those interviews, you have to give feedback. I mean, it's a ton of work for the facilitator. But the shorter the time, the better.
We also had some young people, well, you've seen the list, we had some young people on the committee.
And some of those young people don't live in town anymore, so we're gonna need
Yeah,
new young
we'll have- yeah, well, Olivia here can help us.
Yeah,
We said new younger
Yeah,
people.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
yeah. But as long as you are comfortable with
Yes.
it, you know, I'm comfortable with it.
Yeah.
So,
So can I get a motion to approve the initial budget of $5,000 and to begin the strategic planning process? I think is that how you want
Yeah.
to say it?
Yeah.
You get that, Lauren?
$5,000, no more than, right?
Up to,
Up to?
Yeah, I proposed an initial budget of up to $5,000. I don't think that we're gonna need more, but it allows us to revisit it in the future if we need.
yeah. I'll make that motion to approve the budget, the initial budget for $5,000 for our strategic planning.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0,
4-0.
4-0. Well, that's-
Mhm.
Usually what it is.
And I already had a note in our fund commitments about that, so when we review the
Yeah,
checking account in January,
Yeah,
we'll
yeah,
have
yeah,
that
yeah.
noted for that.
because we've got the monies in there for the piano.
Quite, yes, yes.
Okay, and then good news, a donation.
Yeah. We have an incoming donation of about $60,000 from an estate, somebody who passed recently, and we are one of the organizations that is going to be bequeathed some funds from that estate. So the process for this, the donation of this size needs to be approved by the select board before we can sort of accept it as a municipal department. And so I need some more documentation from the office that is controlling the
The estate?
yes, controlling the estate at this time. But once we get more information for the select board, it's probably going to be on their January 6th meeting agenda.
Mhm.
And I have a note to
That's
myself.
gonna be a busy meeting.
Yes, and I have a reminder, to myself, because last time we had a donation come in, I missed getting it actually on the agenda. Anyway, so just reminding to myself, just in case it doesn't get on there, that I'll follow up so we can get that.
Well,
approved.
And it's
wh-
going
where-
to be 60 grand to us.
Yes.
Was, were we, or will we be given what their thoughts are on how it could be used, or just, is it non?
Is it
Um,
unrestricted?
Yeah,
It sounds unrestricted, but when we have the information about, the information that indicates that, the donation was directed to us, if there is any information about how they
how
hope
they
we would
wish.
use it, then yeah, we will see that
Okay,
there,
yeah.
so, but it sounds unrestricted, which is, exciting,
Yeah,
you know,
it is.
so. And again, kind of coming at a good time, we're about to do strategic planning, so we can think about how we might want to use it, or what it can kind of contribute to, so.
All right, the next thing's the building review checklist.
Mhm.
Good. Can we go over the library review?
Yeah, so that's pretty much, unless anyone has any questions that they thought of since then, but the piano update is the next thing, and that has been taken off-site. The bills are kind of coming in phases, so we had to pay an initial part of the bill when the piano was picked up. The work has started, so we're processing the next quarter of that bill, and then I think it's the final bill is after everything is all done, but I have to double check the
Oh, did
sort
you
of
get
timeline on
that,
that.
that next bill? But Brian asked me about it.
I did, yes,
Okay, did you give it to Brian?
yes.
Okay, good. Okay, because he had asked me about it, because he actually went back and looked.
And looked at
what
the,
You signed, and it was like, he goes, aren't we supposed to give them some more money? And I said, you better check with Melanie.
yeah, he's still learning, Jim is still learning how to do QuickBooks, so he sent me, I gave it to Brian and highlighted it, because the thing that he sent us in QuickBooks is like basically the total rest of the amount, and he's like, that's not what's due yet, it's just this portion, so.
Who's learning QuickBooks? Jim?
Jim,
Oh,
Jim,
okay.
sorry,
I
not
was gonna
Brian.
say
Yeah, I know,
Brian.
Brian, yeah, maybe they should get together and, no, but,
Okay.
yeah, and
Alright, cool.
yeah, yes. So yeah, that's all going along. Jim is gonna give me pictures of that as that progresses. But the Friends, I have to talk to Karen about this, but, someone on the Friends board had a nice idea that maybe we should do like a welcome back concert when we get it back in the building, and I was like,
Great
that'd be
idea.
cute, a nice,
Maybe
don't
the
know.
high school.
have it at the high school?
No, have one of the groups from the high school
Oh,
do the,
that's an interesting
do the thing,
idea.
their jazz group or something like that.
Oh, yeah, they were suggesting, like I don't know, just a regional professional, but I think having a student group.
Yeah,
that would
I
be
think
really
that's,
nice.
that's just better.
By the way, the first concert is Thursday night in
Yeah.
the new auditorium.
Oh,
Yeah,
what time?
6.
That's a good question.
I'm trying to think, 6 or 6:30.
Wow.
Yeah, it's called the Nauset Alumni.
And so it's also like students that like graduated from the program. I got to get a tour of the new auditorium, and it's really nice because it like preserves like the old character of it, and like the old wood from the school is in it. But it's still like really nice, and that has a new balcony.
Very cool.
And it holds, I think, 500.
750. 750.
Yeah.
750, the auditorium is,
Wow,
750 seats.
that's amazing.
Just a question about, do you anticipate we're gonna have a need to rent a piano, or will people bring their own keyboards?
Keyboards.
Yeah, I don't. Karen has not indicated that that's going to be something that we need for the winter music or encore music series so far. And we haven't had other things come up. You know, Mary Ann will coordinate some concerts and things like that. So I don't think that we're gonna have a need for that. Yeah.
All right, any other business that anyone would like to bring up?
I have a couple things. Is there any, update? Unfortunately, on the EV station, it's my understanding that they're not working and that we don't have a contract any longer. And there's really no knowledge, no information that tells us that there's going to be able to be used anytime soon.
I unfortunately I haven't gotten any information directly from town hall. This is, I've gotten updates as people have read the Indy article. So I don't know. I don't know where that's falling and, you know, other kind of priorities in town hall right now.
Right.
Obviously, they want the EV stations to be working. In the interim, I have heard a couple of requests from the community if we can get like signage, either covering the
Yeah,
signs
because
or
people aren't parking
yeah,
in there.
yeah.
I didn't park, I was gonna park there, but I thought they were closed, but I wasn't sure, so I didn't. So
Right,
it'd be
They're
helpful.
closed.
right. I'm thinking like what's gonna start to happen is people who feel like they're in the know are just gonna maybe park there anyway, but I think it'd be nice to, I don't wanna just like cover them and make them look, I don't know, if it just, I'm wondering if maybe DPW can
Yeah, put
get
something
some
there because,
sign that looks
Mhm.
classier and is a little more longer lasting than our like laminated things that we put up when they're
Mhm,
not working
mhm.
and stuff like
because I
that.
don't think they're going to be working anytime soon.
Yeah,
Yeah, unfortunately. Okay, and my other comment is that when I was here for the update with Mary Ann for the Turnip Festival,
Mhm.
I was not the first person to come, and as I walked in the door, somebody had gone to the sandwich board and moved letters
Oh.
around,
Mhm.
and they had moved the letters around to say that could be seen by anybody entering this building, FUKER, on the sandwich board. And it's my understanding that maybe something similar to that had been done on another sandwich board. I did not see that one, but I was told that there had been another similar situation prior to that
I think one
day.
of the other staff who's been here a lot longer than I have just said that it is something that has happened with the sandwich boards previously because they are accessible.
Mhm.
I haven't noticed it being a problem since I've been on staff. That doesn't mean that it can't ever happen, but it's, you know, it's just kind of an occupational hazard. You're absolutely right. It could have been seen by anybody kind of walking in, but it was
Mhm.
not at the front of the building. It wasn't, you know, a sign that we were actively using to advertise
Mhm.
anything. So I think it's, you know, we just have to remind ourselves that, you know, if the sandwich board isn't being used, we need to take the letters off so that.
Yeah, I think that,
um,
I think something like that has to be done because
Right.
I couldn't believe it when I
Well,
walked in.
unfortunately, this is, you know, it's essentially the same as graffiti and, you know, you can try and prevent, you know, but yeah, you know, if there's a situation that somebody feels is appealing to them to maybe cause a little mischief, it's a thing that happens. And if it becomes a bigger problem, then I don't know, we might need to do more policy to address it, but
Yeah,
I
just
don't know.
trying to monitor.
Yeah, just monitoring it, yeah, these
I
things.
think
as
your
much as
idea of
possible.
removing the
Yeah,
letters
yeah,
so that people can't come up and move the letters around to
yeah,
put on there whatever they'd like to
yeah.
have on there. I couldn't believe it, to be quite honest with you.
It is a shame, but
Disrespectful.
yeah, it is disrespectful,
Yeah, I mean,
but
this is a library. This is.
yeah,
I'm glad it wasn't on the I thought it was. On the
Yeah.
outside, so-
No, it was,
No.
yeah, I was coming in because we were early well, you were there too.
Yeah.
Coming in the staff door and it was right near the staff door. Yeah.
well, but we also should remind ourselves that not, you know, not that I'm saying that this is a, you know, bigger ill-intended thing that it is, but, you know, people who are inclined to do bullying situations do it to get a rise out of you. So the bigger deal we make about it, the more we're likely to have people continue to try and do things like that, so.
Yeah.
But thank you for addressing that, Mary. Thank you for pointing it out so that we could address it as quickly as possible
Yeah,
before the building opened to the public.
Yeah, I guess on a positive note, I wasn't the first person here and nobody else saw it.
Yep, shows that
And
we're
it was
all,
something stuck right out to me as I was walking up the side of the library.
thank you for pointing it out
So
so we
that-
could
that-
address it as soon as possible.
All right, anything else? All right, can someone make a motion to adjourn? at 4:19.
I move.
Joanne.
Adjourn.
And it's
Thank
still light
you.
out.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
4:19.
sunset.
Yep, all in favor?
Who was the
Aye.
second?
Oh.
You.
Who was
Oh,
the
I
second?
Okay.
Okay.